Hi everyone, I hope that you're doing well. So yesterday you did the mole lab with cereal for the family room. Today we're going to do it for your backyard, okay? Because I want to practice how to do the math, all that kind of stuff, with a little bit of correction, okay? So a couple pointers, or I'll call review things for yesterday. So if you didn't hand it in, you still can. I tried to grade people easy because it seemed like some people were confused, even though if you didn't come to the live lesson either day, that's kind of on you. Okay, I had a couple people who made comments about, well, it would have been easier if someone was teaching me. It's there at 10:30. If 10:30 is too early for you, frankly, I'm not quite sure what to tell you because it is what it is. It's at 10:30. That's when it's going to be. If that time does not work for you because of a class conflict for another class, please email me and we'll figure something out. But if you're still in bed, hey, a couple people came to Google or came to the live meeting and they were still in bed. Okay, at 10:30. Okay, so I'm gonna run through the lab for the family room. Today's lab deals with your backyard or your patio. I just picked it because most people have a bigger backyard or patio than they do a family room. Okay, if you look at your backyard, measure it the best you can. For some of you, it's going to be easier to just ask your parents, how big is it? They might know. If you know that it's 2 acres, you have 2 acre backyard, or you have a quarter acre backyard, go to Google. 0.25 acres is how many meters squared, because we're talking about area. 2 acres is how many meters squared. You know, Same thing. If you have 100 feet one way and 50 feet the other way, so that's 500 square feet. 500 square feet is how many meters squared, okay? And if you look in the lab, I already gave you a number to use for height because obviously I'm not going to expect you to measure miles or kilometers up in the air, okay? So I'm going to run through all the questions and I'm going to deal with them as if it were the family room, just in case anybody wants to recap that with what you already did. And then anytime I say family room, if you need help, watch this video and just pause it and think, okay, I'm talking about my backyard or my patio. Okay, pre-lab questions. Number one, how many pieces of cereal in a mole of cereal? One mole always equals a certain number. If you need to go back and look at previous questions, if you need to look back at previous lessons, do that. But you need to know what that number is. I'll give you the tests and quizzes, but you need to know what that number is. One mole always equals something. That's your answer for number one. Okay? That was the only question I took points off for, really, for people on the last one. Okay, number two, write what you think is a good estimate. Once again, an estimate is a number that I'm not going to take off points no matter what you put. Okay, as long as you put an actual number. Okay, we get to the procedure. So step one, obtain a plastic cup filled with cereal. It could be any cup in your house. It does not need to be cereal. A couple people messaged me and asked if that was okay. You could use pasta. You could use candy. I mean, hey, it's a great excuse if you got discount candy, a whole bunch of jelly beans or the little chocolate eggs or whatever you like. Hey mom, I'm sorry, I have to eat all these for the lab. Use whatever works for you that you have, okay? It can be whatever cup you have. So if you want to eat a lot, get a big cup. If you don't want to eat a lot, get a little cup. I would not recommend small things like Rice Krispies or grains of rice because you're going to count for forever, okay? Number two, count the number of pieces of cereal and record this number in the data table. If desired, eat the cereal. So for number two, okay, remember the data table is down on page 3. So you could write that down on a separate sheet of paper. You could type it in here, whatever works for you there. So I'm going to say that I had 643 pieces of cereal in my cup. Okay? Okay, number 3, measure the volume of the container. Easiest way is use a measuring cup. Most of you guys have it in your kitchen, okay? Actually, I'd be shocked if any of you didn't have a measuring cup somewhere in your kitchen. Same thing as I said with the metric and not metric units with Google. So you could say 6 ounces into Google. 6 ounces is how many milliliters? You could say 1.2 cups is how many milliliters. Okay, it'll do it for you. Many of your measuring cups, if you spin it around, have milliliters on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to say my cup was 375 milliliters. Okay. Okay, number 4, measure the length, width, and height of your family room. And remember, that was yesterday. For today, we're talking backyard. Same thing as I just did. If you have 11 feet 10 inches, or you have 25 feet, you could just type that many feet and inches is how many meters into Google. It'll do it for you. So same thing I'm doing the family room, just for people who are confused with yesterday, and that way you can compare with your lab that you already submitted because you should have the PDF. Okay, so I'm going to say my length was 3.5 meters. My width was 2.3 meters, and my height was 2.8 meters. Okay? Length, width, and height. If you have an irregular shape, if you look on your lab, I have how to do that. I'm not going to come to your house and check out your backyard or your family room. So if you just want to pretend it's a big rectangle to make your life easy, go ahead. I'm not going to stress over it, okay? Okay. Number 5, calculate the volume. So volume equals length times width times height. So I'm going to do 3.5 times 2.3 times 2.8. And it's going to give me meters cubed. Okay, so the volume of mine is 22.54 meters cubed. Sorry, I have this scientific notation from when I was practicing the liter problems. Okay, so that's number 5. Okay, number 6, we're going to calculate the number of cereal pieces in a meter cubed. So a meter cubed is roughly this by this by this. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to take the number of cereal pieces you have in your cup, okay, divided by the volume of your cup, that's in milliliters, times 1 times 10 to the 6th centimeters cubed. Okay? Remember, a milliliter is equal to a centimeter cubed. So what we're doing is we're basically saying, since this is a million centimeters cubed in 1 meter, we're converting your cup proportionally up to if it were a full meter cubed. Okay? So for me, I'm going to do 643 over 375 times 1 times 10 to the 6th. Remember, some of you need to use parentheses on your calculators to make it work. Or you might need to use parentheses in your phone, internet calculator, whatever you're using. Okay? I'm not going to worry too much about the numbers because your numbers should not match mine because that would be very freakishly weird. So 643 divided by 375 times 1 times 10 to the 6th. So I'm going to get 1.71 times 10 to the 6th pieces of cereal. Okay, is that a big number? Absolutely. Think of how small cereal is and think of how many just fit in that little cup that you measured versus a meter cubed. Okay? Okay, number 7. Calculate the number of cereal pieces that would be needed to fill your family rooms using the number of cereal from your answer in step 6 and the volume of your room in meters cubed from step 5. Record your answer in the data table. Okay, so for 7, I'm going to take the number of cereal you have in a meter cubed times the volume. So I'm going to take this number, 1.71 times 10 to the 6th, times, so I'll do an X so it's a little more clear for you guys. My volume here, 22.54. And I'm going to get 3.86 times 10 to the 7th pieces. That's a lot of pieces of cereal, but that's also, once again, I'm using family room here. But when you're talking backyard, if it's an even bigger number, that makes sense, okay? Because it's a really, really big space. Okay. Number 8. We're looking at how much of a mole this is, basically, okay? So think of it, if you have a 20 out of 25 on a test, how do you find your grade? You do 20 divided by 25. You multiply by 100 to find it in percent, but we're not going to go to percent. We just want to know the ratio. So I'm going to take this number, 3.86 times 10 to the 7th, over 1 mole is always equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So it's saying 20 out of 25. Part out of the whole. Don't forget your parentheses on most of your calculators because your calculator will mess it up for you. With the family room one, I kind of let all the math slide. I'm going to actually look at the math for the one for your backyard because if you have an exponent that makes no sense at all, that's going to be on you because there will be a live lesson today at 10:30 if you have questions. Or you can email me all day. Okay, I have that divided by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. I'm going to get 6.42 times 10 to the negative 17th moles. Is that a really small number? Yes. Part of what I'm trying to get in your head here is so we all understand how big a mole is. That your family room holds such a small portion of a mole that it really doesn't make that much sense. Okay? On to number 9. So for number 9, calculate how many family rooms of the size of your family room would be needed to hold 1 mole of cereal. You should get a very large number, okay? Record it in the data table. So essentially we're going to do 1 over our answer for number 7, not number 8, but number 7, because that's how many are in your family room. 3.86 times 10 to the 7th times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, if you want the life hack here of how to do this, I'm going to type in 3.86 times 10 to the 7th. Okay? Then you can just do 1 divided by, or your calculator might have, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, it might have a little -1 button here, or 1 over x button. If you hit that button, it'll do 1 divided by that number, okay? Then multiply that by 6.02, don't forget your parenthesis, times 10 to the 23rd, and you're going to, so I got 1.56 times 10 to the 16th houses. Oh, sorry, not houses, family rooms. Sorry guys, I just recorded the career lesson, so if I misspeak, excuse me. Okay, that's a lot of family rooms, okay? Okay, your data table's on page 3. Okay, post-lab questions. Does the answer you calculated in step 9 surprise you, why or not? It's an opinion question. The only way you're going to get it wrong is if you don't say yes or no and why, okay? 2, write the number of family rooms needed to hold 1 mole of cereal in standard notation. We're going to write this in standard notation. So that means written out the whole number. You do not need to put commas. If you do, that's fine, but you do not need to put commas. Okay? As I said, I didn't really take off the points. I knew people were confused with the one that we did with family room. The one you're doing today, make sure you actually write out the whole number. If you give me scientific notation again for here, I'm going to take off the point. Okay? Number 3, calculate how many houses would be needed to hold a mole of cereal. So for this one, we're going to take this number and divide it by 8 because I told you 8 times or 8 are the size of that. Whatever ratio I give you for the one for backyards or patios, and I'm sorry because that's not letting me pull up both at once because, I don't know, the Chromebook's being stupid. Divide it by that number. So whatever number gives you a number 3, you're going to take your last answer, the answer for number 2, divide it by 3. You can leave it in scientific notation for number 3, okay? Number 4, do you think there's enough backyards or patios or family rooms, houses in the world to hold this? Yes or no? Okay, I think I used neighborhoods for the backyard one. Why or why not? Same thing, it's an opinion question. 2, source of error. Remember, source of error can be human, it can be something that you did, or it can be experimental, something that's wrong with the experiment. Remember, wrong with the experiment is there's something that's not right there, so I typed something wrong, you didn't use the information, whatever it may be, okay? Something you liked, something you could be improved, and something, and whether you like the lab. So obviously, yes, some of you typed, I don't want to count cereal. So maybe today you shouldn't use cereal, you should use something else, okay? If you said, a couple people said, I didn't like doing the math, you know what? That's how this chapter is. I'm sorry about that. Okay, next step. You're going to take all your answers. You could write them down on a piece of paper from where, or do whatever. Type them into the Google form, okay? The Google form is going to then auto-populate when you hit submit. If you don't hit submit, it won't do it. When you hit submit, it's going to auto-populate a PDF. Your name's going to be in blue. That's how you know that it's yours, it's done. Look it over real quick to make sure it looks good. Upload that PDF. If you submit the Google Doc, I'm going to say, please upload your PDF and return it to you. If you take pictures of something and give it to me, guess what? I'm going to ask for the PDF because part of this is about following directions. Part of this is, although some of you guys are neat and organized, some of you guys are not. And I will not know, and sometimes it's very hard to figure out where you wrote your work, where you wrote your answer, where you wrote different stuff. And between CP and career, there's going to be 90 of these. I just want that PDF printout. It's very clear and easy for me to see and follow your numbers. And part of it too is that's something that I can use if you guys show me you're able to do it. And to be honest, probably even if you guys can't show me for later assignments, because it looks very nice and neat and clean. If anyone wants to know how to set that up, let me know. Mr. Anderson actually showed me how to do that, but you can make a Google form that fills out paperwork. So for example, if you're in culinary, you can make it auto-populate, recipes. If you could do invoices for any of your shops you want to open your business, you could make it where you enter stuff into Google form, it would make an invoice and a bill for you. So, if you are interested in that, let me know, but we're learning the process. So once again, I'm only checking that PDF. If you upload something that's not that PDF, I'm not going to accept it for the grade. Last point, make sure that you're doing the daily ratings. It's 2 points, I know. And by daily, I mean it goes with each assignment. We have 45 days in the marking period. 45 times 2 equals 90. So this thing's going to be worth almost 90 points. It helps me to get a fix on how you do. It lets me see, did you actually understand what the lesson was about? And go from there, okay? That I'm not going to take late. So if you don't do it, at midnight, the Google form gets turned off and you cannot physically submit an answer. If you know that you are not going to be able to do it, so for example, I had someone email me today and tell me that the power company is going to be doing work on their road and they were told they might lose power for part of the day. Hey, cool, that person emailed me, they're getting exempted from that. They're not losing any points. But if you just choose not to do it, that is the one assignment this marking period that I'm not going to take late. So please be aware of that, okay? So after this in the chapter, there's going to be more calculations. Next, we'll talk about multiple moles. If I give you iron 3 bromide, FeBr3. So with the last quiz in the last section, we just talked about the whole compound. Now we're going to talk about how many iron atoms there are, or how many moles of iron, versus how many moles or atoms of bromine. Then we're going to talk about mass. So we're going to talk about half a mole's worth how many grams of something. Then we're going to talk about liters and volume. Then we're going to start interchanging. So if I have 54 grams of iron 3 bromide, how many atoms is that, or how many liters is that? And then we'll keep going from there. But so make sure you're actually practicing these types of problems because they're going to keep coming back, okay? If you have not been paying attention on Google Classroom, please note that there are no final exams, and that's whether or not we go back to school. There is no decision on whether we go back to school. It's up to the governor at this point and the state government. So right now the date is May 15th. We'll see if it gets pushed back. We'll see what happens. But either way, the schools decided it's not fair to you guys to hold final exams, so they're not going to have them. What that does mean is each marking period is worth 25%. So if you decide to mail it in last marking period, it's going to hurt you a lot more than it would normally. So make sure you're doing your work. And it helps you long-term wise too. If you have any questions about that, email me. If you have any questions with this lab, please show up to our 10:30 live lesson. If you want, I'll work through all your numbers with you. This morning I didn't have my calculator because my son took it to use it as a phone and it was under the couch. I couldn't find it. I will work through all your numbers with you if you need to do it, okay? Just make sure you come with your measurements already done. Because if you're like, oh man, I need to take like 10 minutes and count out how many pieces of cereal in the cup, I'm probably not going to wait around for that. I need to run to my backyard and measure it, I'm probably not going to wait for that. So just have those measurements done ahead of time, and we'll work through how to do all the answers if you need to. Bring any questions you have. As well, you can email me. I'll answer the best that I can through email throughout the day, okay? Hope that you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys all had a good spring break. And it was nice to see a number of you on the live lessons for yesterday or today, okay? If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Have a nice day. See you later.